दोस्तों, 2-3 दिन पहले जब डॉक्टर चंद्रा त्रिपाठी और डॉक्टर संदीप शर्मा मेरे पास आए प्रोग्राम शेड्यूल के बारे में, उन्होंने बताया कि डॉक्टर पवन अग्रवाल भी यहाँ आ रहे हैं। मेरी बड़ी इच्छा थी कि मैं उनका कीनोट एड्रेस सुनूं, और मैंने गलती से बोल दिया कि मैं वहाँ रहूँगा और उनके बाद बोलूँगा। अब मैं अपनी गलती का सुधार करना चाह रहा था। It is extremely difficult to follow. I think Dr. Pawan Agarwal was fantastic as a motivational speaker, a story that India can really be proud of, a story that is 127-year-old. I think about Dabbawalas without technology, coming out of teamwork and passion of these people. Hats off to you. And of course, you have put me in a very difficult spot. Okay. Now, normally, last speaker has a problem because everything that he or she wants to say has already been said before. But I can say for sure that I have no such problem, because what I'm going to tell you today is something new that has not been spoken of so far in this workshop in so much of details, though people have touched upon the issue of food and food hygiene and sanitation. But what I'm basically going to share with you is something that may be new to many of you, if not all of you. Let me also say that I think as Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, it is a very new organization in India, which has been set up on the pattern of similar food authorities elsewhere in the world, like the US FDA, which is very well known in India, maybe more known in India a few years ago than FSSAI itself. And therefore, it is a matter of proud privilege for me to share this dais with Dabbawalas, 127-year-old organization, Indian Oil, Indian Railways, GAIL, and even this Association of Environmental and Occupational Health, which is celebrating 70 years of its existence. I think this is a really very proud moment for a young organization like FSSAI to be on this dais, sharing the dais with you all. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. This new organization, which was established by an Act of Parliament in 2006 and began its work in 2011, has a very interesting mandate. The mandate of this organization is to ensure safe and wholesome food for all our citizens. Safe and wholesome food. Wholesome would mean nutritious food. And when I joined this organization a couple of years back, I thought this is an impossible task. How, as an organization, a very small organization, can get into the lives of people, all our citizens, something that they do 3, 4, 5 times a day, and ensure that the food that they take is safe and wholesome, is nutritious. Now, I will just share with you that what FSSAI does to ensure safe and nutritious food for our citizens. And I am taking this opportunity to share this with you because many of you may not be very familiar with FSSAI. And second, as an organization which is small, working with other partners is an imperative for us. We have to work with others to ensure that we can reach the scale at which we need to operate. My presence here is a result of several coincidences. When Dr. Tripathi and Dr. Sharma came and met me, they shared with me some fantastic work that is being done by this association and also by Indian Oil and Gail, and I'm sure many other organizations in the area of food safety and hygiene. Coincidentally, we in FSSAI have also been working on an initiative which is safe and nutritious food at workplace over the last few months. This is an initiative which is a part of our initiatives to ensure safe and nutritious food for our citizens, our social and behavioral change initiatives touching lives of our citizens wherever they are, whenever they are. Safe and nutritious food at home, safe and nutritious food at school, safe and nutritious food at workplace, safe and nutritious food on the go when you are eating out, street food, restaurant, hotels, or even safe and nutritious food in workplaces. We also have a program to ensure safety and hygiene of food that is available in places of worship. Only yesterday, and this was really very touching to see that there were about 40 temples and gurdwaras from across the country, Somnath to Kamakhya, from temples in Haridwar to Rameshwaram and Madurai. They were in our office for a workshop on safe and nutritious food. So these initiatives, as obviously they are still, in the infancy, many of them have the resource material and the websites and social media presence already, but obviously the scale of the nation is so large that it will require partnership. And I will basically say that one of the reasons why I accepted this invitation was that I saw in this association a valuable partnership to reach our initiative of safe and nutritious food at workplace to all of the workplaces in the organized sector to begin with, and then slowly and gradually across the workplaces in MSME sector, in our other institutions and organizations across the country. So this was one of the selfish motive of my presence here. It is also a matter of coincidence that apart from this huge and wonderful coincidence that I share name with Dr. Pawan Agrawal, and I thought I'll have the benefit of rubbing rubbing shoulders with him and get benefit of some confusion because he's a celebrity, I know. And so we have a national street food festival going on just next door. And National Street Food Festival, we have joined hands with National Association of Street Vendors of India, a nationwide association of street vendors that brings the street food from across the country in one place to give Delhiites a unique culinary experience. We started associating with this festival since last year. This year we have added a few more elements to this festival. One element was to introduce the organic food bazaar. The organic food is something that we have begun to regulate, and from 1st of July those regulations will come into effect. And we thought it is a good opportunity to basically have an outreach of those standards to the citizens of Delhi and to all our citizens in the nation through this event. We also have a Legends Corner, wherein some of the street food vendors I'm sure many of you must be aware that Bareilly to Lucknow to Aligarh to Mathura, Madurai, there are a few street food vendors who are legends in their own areas. And through NASRI, we have tried to bring as many of them as possible for this street food festival, to give Delhiites an experience of the legendary street food across the nation. But again, the motive of FSSAI here is to connect to street food vendors in order to work with them to improve their standards. I'm giving you this background for a reason. The reason that a new age organization which has a huge mandate to ensure safety and nutrition of food for our citizens across the country cannot work as a regulator, which we have been by law mandated to do. We have to find new ways of working with various stakeholders and our citizens. Our stakeholders, food businesses, whether it is Patanjali or Nestle or Cargill, to small food vendors, they are all our stakeholders. They are in some sense the regulated entities for FSSAI. And citizens are stakeholders, all citizens, because while safety of food can be ensured through regulation, but what individuals eat is something that cannot be regulated, particularly when it comes to wholesomeness or nutrition of the food consumed. And not only safety, but also the food that we are taking, the nutrition of that food is becoming increasingly important. I think somebody mentioned about the Lancet report. There is another Lancet report about the rising incidence of obesity in this country. There are concerns and growing concerns about malnutrition, about micronutrient deficiencies in our diet. I think somebody mentioned about bringing sunlight into our workplaces. Vitamin D deficiency is a major epidemic across the country because citizens are not getting the sunlight that provides them this very vital vitamin D. Deficiencies of vitamin A and vitamin D, iron deficiency, folic acid deficiency is a major public health concern. And this is not something that can be regulated by law. This is something that we have to educate our citizens. This is something that we have to create awareness around what kind of food is healthy and right to eat. There is also growing concern about obesity, as I mentioned before, rising incidence of non-communicable diseases. Some of you who may have followed the recent ICMR, Public Health Foundation of India report on transition that has happened from communicable to non-communicable diseases across the states. 15 years ago, large part of India, communicable diseases were far more than non-communicable diseases. Today, rich or poor, all states, they have greater burden of non-communicable diseases. Heart diseases, diabetes, and this is all because what we are eating today is less healthier than what we were eating 15 years ago. Because the baseline that was there for this study was 2015, was 1990, and the current study was looking at numbers in 2015. I think as country's food authority, this role of ensuring safe and wholesome food for our citizens is becoming increasingly complex and increasingly difficult to achieve, which requires participation of all stakeholders, including those of you who are sitting in this room here today. Now I'll take you through that, how does FSSAI actually ensure standards? What are the instruments for FSSAI, for the country's food regulator, to ensure standards in the food that one gets in the marketplace? It begins by FSSAI setting standards of food. And of course, the variety of food that one gets in the country is huge. So there are vertical standards, which are compositional standards of food, but there are only a few hundred of such compositional standards. Most of the safety is about horizontal standards. Horizontal standards are maximum residue levels of pesticides, heavy metals, aflatoxins, antibiotic residues, which are becoming an area of major concern. Microbial standards for food. So these are horizontal standards, and so these standards are set through a consultative process in which we involve the country's science and research organizations to deliberate on the risks and exposures and likelihood of diseases and illnesses that may arise if the exposure is more than a certain limit, and fix those standards. We also look at standards which are internationally available. There is something called Codex Alimentarius Commission, which is a joint body of Food and Agriculture Organization and WHO that sets international standards, and most of the Indian standards are benchmarked to that, except in a few cases where Indian situation is somewhat different from prevailing in other countries, and where we have standards different from the international standards. Then the businesses are expected to follow those standards voluntarily. And if those standards are not followed, then there is a full enforcement machinery. Unfortunately, unlike the rest of the world, where for food safety enforcement, there are thousands. In fact, in the US, there are about 35,000 people in the federal government that looks after food safety inspection. In India, in FSSAI, we have 300 and we have no inspectors. So we largely rely on inspectors or the food safety officers in the state government, and that too is just 3,000. So obviously, the capacity to enforce is extremely limited. Of course, we have been persuading the government, the national government and the state government, to increase the manpower both in the FSSAI and the state food safety commissioners in the states. But we are also aware of the fact that we may not get the numbers that we actually require to ensure same kind of inspections that are done in US or Canada. Canada, which has 3-4% of India's population, in the federal agency, they have 4,000 inspectors. So I think the FSSAI therefore has to find new ways of ensuring compliance. And those new ways of ensuring compliance are digital compliance. We have matrices. Our inspectors use mobile devices to inspect the premises and check whether those parameters are being met or not. We have to do much more with much less. And obviously, the food safety ecosystems in other countries did not have the benefit of technology. They are legacy systems. So in some ways we have an advantage over Canada, US and even Europe, that we can use technology very effectively and perhaps give similar level of compliance satisfaction to our citizens as the rest of the world. We have also used another tool to improve compliance of food standards by our food businesses. That is something unique, as we all recognize the fact that if internal capacities of the food businesses is good, then they will comply with food standards. In most cases, they are not complying with the standards for safety and hygiene because they are not even aware of it. So we have launched a massive program for training and capacity building of food handlers and food safety supervisors in food businesses. And that program is being run with almost no expenditure from FSSAI. We have created a new ecosystem which is largely driven by the private sector training providers. Or training providers, they have a revenue model in it. These training programs are often 1 to 3 days time. They cost 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 rupees. And the food businesses or the food handlers themselves are able to bear that cost. As we speak today, in a matter of last few months, we have been able to create 100 training providers who are providing these training programs for food handlers and food safety supervisors across the country. I know we are running late and therefore I will not dwell more on the new ways in which this relatively new government organizations in the area of food safety and hygiene is trying to ensure safe and wholesome food for our citizens. But would once again reiterate that there is a huge opportunity for all of you, and particularly for the Association of Environmental and Occupational Health, to join hands with FSSAI, with the food safety ecosystem in the country, to ensure that our citizens get safe and wholesome food. I can see that, and I'm sure that all of you will recognize that the most important part of any workplace are its employees, the workers. If they are in good health, then it obviously means that they'll be less absenteeism, they'll be more productive. I think this association and the workplaces themselves have to move merely from ensuring food safety to positive nutrition, to what is healthy eating right. Though it may not really be the direct mandate, but of course I saw from the wonderful books that Indian Oil and GAIL has produced that there is a lot of focus on healthy eating as well. But even though the name suggests that it is environmental and occupational health and maybe the safety aspect, but I think positive nutrition, nudging our citizens to eat right is so important. And since many of us in the workplaces, they spend 2/3 of our waking lives in the workplaces. So not only nudging them to eat right and eat safe in the workplaces, but also when they go home or when they eat out. I think this forum can play an extremely important role in ensuring that our citizens eat safe, they eat right. And this is perhaps the reason why in the National Health Policy, which was released last year, the first pillar of the National Health Policy is the focus on preventive and promoting health. With these words, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you all once again and thank the association for giving me this opportunity to talk to you. Thank you very much.